Congratulations!
La familia. Nos dio hambre, así que paramos a comer.
Llegamos al oasis.
Yes, and the Taco Bell.
A Taco Bell.
Yeah, we thought
Mira cómo la hace, mira cómo la hace. Mira. Parece que la hace. Ah, mira, se quiso ir. Porque ahorita se puso trisco.
El del otro que me...
Lo que tú prefieres.
Esperanza, amo alguna. Siempre estoy feliz de
¡Ay, mi madre!
pero no saben de qué sube. No se está sin ti, yeah. Está sin ti, fantasía. De mí pa' que sube. Favorito.
Chicago.
You got a friend in me. Toy Story.
Ya estamos.
Es una cosa.
Sí. Sí, está el parking.
Sé que puedo volar.
Ah, el amarillo. Ese está nítido. Si nos vamos a montar en el barco, pero el otro más suave. El que es como guía. Se van a parquear. Y cuando sale Yo. Y también el papel no tiene eso del scan. Mira ya, en la casita.
Le llévate las dos. Una perra
Ay. Thank you. Acá, aquí. Aquí cabemos todito.
Ay, Dios mío. Sí, por eso.
De la tele. Margarito chilling aquí.
Welcome aboard. No smoking or vaping allowed on board. And most importantly, if you want to have a loud conversation, don't. Do have few amenities on board, just restrooms. Restrooms located towards the back. We also full service bar. Zach is your bartender today. He's got plenty of drinks back there. All right.
Again, in today's tour, I want to help you answer the question, what makes Chicago so great? Now, taking you back to 1986, one of my favorite movies came out, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Letter to Chicago, I'd like to do the same. So let this boat ride be our day off. Let's explore what makes Chicago such a great city. I want to start by pointing out our beloved Chicago and 4 red stars. 2 blue stripes, 4 red stars. Keep them in mind, take a mental picture of that flag. Oh, and if you can't see that, boom, 5 red stars. Keep that in mind. I'll be referencing certain aspects of this flag throughout our tour today to help give you a better understanding of our Chicago over time. By the end of our tour, you'll be an expert on this white, blue, and red flag. All right. As we head towards the Usable Lake Shore Drive Hike, we come out in Skyline. It's quite a sight to see. It's very theatrical, very cinematic. So I'll let you guys take this and take some videos. luxurious St. Regis Hotel, as well as some of the tallest and priciest condominiums here in our city. The second tallest column of the St. Regis Tower sold as a penthouse during the construction of this building for $18.5 million. That is the fifth most expensive home sale in Chicago's history. It's really just pocket change to me. Look at the top of the tallest tower, you'll see almost all the way to the top there are two floors that look a lot wider and a lot more open than the rest of the floors. That's the 83rd and 84th floor of the St. Regis Tower, and they are what we call flow-through floors. You see, architects and engineers have to come up with creative ways to offset the movement of their buildings in high winds. When you're building super tall, you have to take into account that the wind will push your building in any which direction. This movement of the building in high winds is also what is referred to as drift. Today we're going to talk about 3 ways that architects and engineers offset the drift of their buildings in high winds. Architects and engineers offset the drift of their buildings in high winds. The first way we'll talk about are these blow-through floors. The idea of the blow-through floors, of course, is instead of the wind hitting the back of the building and pushing in one direction, it blows straight through the 83rd and 84th floor of the Regis Tower. See, Regis Tower. It's not in the back row. It has these white curving balconies on the front.
Oh yeah,
White curving balconies make it look as though there's a wave of water cascading. These is geometrically unique. No two are the same. This helps chop the wind up, make a more desirable temperature inside, but also those balconies are strategically placed so that I can step out on my neighbor on their balcony. So that's how studio gangs and communities can their projects. Up the tower, they work on a weight and counterweight system. And we'll talk a little bit more about the bridges a little later on in our tour. Nice busy day on the river today. Next up, we're going to talk about a pretty iconic building here in Chicago. It's coming up on the right-hand side. This white building with a clock tower up on top. The Wrigley building was originally commissioned to be the Wrigley Candy Company's headquarters. Top was completed in 1924, or 1921, sorry. And then the building to the right of that, connected by a bridge in the middle, was completed in 19. It was a movement to professionalize architecture here in Chicago after the Great Chicago Fire of 1871. They were building big, but they weren't really building safe. So they looked at European architectural textbooks which featured classic works of European architecture, and they copied those right here into our city. So that is European revivalist. This is Spanish revivalist, an offshoot of that. The Wrigley building's also surfaced in over 250,000 glazed terracotta tiles, so fragile they have to be hand washed once a year. They start dark at the bottom, get lighter as you go towards the top to guide your eye towards that clock tower. The Wrigley building is one of 4 buildings featured in the Chicago architecture Lego set, so I guess it's a pretty big deal. Also, if you want to find a good place to get some deep dish pizza, one of my favorite places called Blue Ball. They also have locations pretty much all over the city. So, if you want to bring grab some deep dish, it's later in Chicago. Alright, right now we're headed towards the New Sable Bridge, named after the founder of our city, a man by the name of Jean-Baptiste Du Sable, a Haitian immigrant who came to Chicago to set up a trading post right here along Chicago River. Because he's the first non-native settler of our city, we do consider him the father of our beautiful city of Chicago, and that is Jean-Baptiste Du Sable. It's also one of the lowest bridges here on our river. In fact, if it rains for long enough, hard enough, the water level of the river will rise so high that our double-decker boats here at Shoreline can't get under this bridge. They will It's happened once while I worked here, and last summer it rained for about 2 weeks straight. Alright, as we cross onto the New Sable Bridge, we're going to see the second tallest structure on the Chicago skyline, second tallest structure on the Chicago skyline, the Trump International Hotel and Tower, and it's designed in a style called contextualism. That means that this building is in heavy conversation with its context or its location. You'll notice there are 3 patio setbacks going up the face of this building. Those actually match the height of neighboring buildings to integrate this structure more into its neighborhood. That first patio setback matches the height of the roof of the Wrigley building we were just talking about. Second patio setback matches the height of Mather Tower. That's this spaceship-shaped looking building on the left-hand side of the river. Third patio setback matches the height of the AMA Plaza building as the Black Box building come up right behind the hotel and tower. Trump International Hotel and Tower was completed in 2009, designed by a world-famous architect with his roots right here in Chicago, a man by the name of Adrian Smith. We call Adrian Smith the tallest architect in the world, not because of his height, but because he designs some of the tallest buildings in the world, including the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, the tallest building on the planet. Very proud to have Adrian Smith from right here in Chicago. Right. So as building come up right behind the hotel and tower, it's a Black Box building. This Black Box building is the AMA Plaza building, stands for the American Medical Association. It was designed by a man named Ludwig Mies van der Rohe. Mies van der Rohe is considered the father of American modernism. Modern style architecture is marked by a paring down of design details. Mies van der Rohe couldn't understand why you want to cover the skeletal structure of a building with exterior decorative elements. He's known for saying the beauty of a building lies within the precision of its engineering. That's what we see in these Black Box structures. No frills, just that exposed steel frame. It's the AMA Plaza building, Black Box modernism.
Se te va a marcar.
Mies van der Rohe.
Para la próxima.
Sí.
Cuando tenga la lente que, bueno, acuérdate, yo puedo, como tú puedes estar ahí en el
Marina City residents to the Central Business District or Loop area of Chicago. We call it the Loop for the shape the public transit trains make right around this area. Loop in the late 1950s, early 1960s. So the architect of Marina City, actually a student of Mies van der Rohe, a man by the name of Bertrand Goldberg, decided he wanted to offer all the resources of an entire community all within one single complex. That's exactly what we have here. I'll point some of those aspects out as top onto this bridge here. And down below there's parking. Inside there's a restaurant, movie theater, office space, drive-through, and even a place to park your yacht on the marina down below. Everything you need, all in one place, in a city within a city. Marina City was very successful in drawing residents to the Central Business District or Loop area of Chicago. Alright, take a look on the left-hand side, we'll see the Riverwalk. The Riverwalk is a project many, many years in the making. They broke ground on the Riverwalk in the 1990s. This building has a granite base and then granite pillars going up to a pitched roof. Reflective glass windows. This is 77 West Wacker. It's one of the only buildings on temporary electric glass windows, plus classic. 77 West Wacker by Ricardo Ofield.
Yeah.
I'm going on the right-hand side, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns. This building's actually asymmetrical, but it wasn't originally constructed like this. They actually wanted to expand the South Street from up here in front of us. They wanted to make it wider, but the Murdoch building was in the way. So they shaved off one bay of windows, closed up the western face of the mansion, and expanded the South Street. It started as a wholesale grocery warehouse. Then it was a makeshift hospital, and for many, many years it was a traffic court. Now it's home to the Encyclopedia Britannica Company. The Encyclopedia Britannica Company is still around, which might just be the most surprising fact on our entire tour today. This is Merchandise Mart, completed in 1930, designed in one of my favorite styles of architecture, the Art Deco style. When you think Art Deco, I want you to think streamlined, brick-alley, that's what this style is all about. Thankfully, Merchandise Mart is a great representation of some of the hallmarks of the Art Deco style, which include vertical racing stripes going up the face of the building, an Indiana limestone face, deep inset windows help reinforce the look of those racing stripes. Also got these metallic elements going across the top and bottom of the building, help give the building a sense of rhythm. There are also these stair-step edges going up to the crown style, streamlined verticality, and ambiance. They had the money to build big, that's exactly what they were going to do. In fact, when the Merchandise Mart was completed in 1930, it was the largest building in the world by square footage. It comes in at over 4.2 million square feet. That's over 73 football fields worth of office space. At different times in its history, it's been home to its own police station, fire station. Until 2009, it had its own zip code, and it's still home to its own public transit train stop, the Merchandise Mart stop, which is right back there. That's Merchandise Mart for you. Got some free fishing over on the river. Don't need to bring anything, you just walk up and cast a reel. Also, you might notice the chips in the building, in the front of the building, this side. That's because here in Chicago we have the high highs and low lows of temperature, and so the constant expanding and contracting of the material causes instability of the material and causes heat. Right now of the Chicago River Converter. Main branch, what we've been traveling on so far. The north branch, come up on the Chicago flag, re-enter pocket flag. So 4 red stars, let's talk about that first one. That first red star represents construction of Fort Dearborn, a military fort completed in 1803. It's the first large gathering of people here in Chicago. Prior to this, there were settlers like Jean-Baptiste, but they were more spread out. This is the first large gathering. Unfortunately, Fort Dearborn only lasted about 9 years. Because it was not a great military fort, burned down in the War of 1812. But when they decided to rebuild this township, this gathering of people, they decided to do it right here around Wolf Point. And today Wolf Point is home to some of the flashiest architecture out of Chicago skyline, including this building right in front of us. Big arch on bottom, big arch on top. Some people say it looks like a Hot Pocket. Other people say it looks like a McDonald's apple pie box. I see both. This is the River Point building. It was completed in 2017 by architectural firm Pier Chilton. I want you to notice these portholes on the plaza down the road. Those are actually exhaust fans for passenger Amtrak and Metro trains that run underneath that way. That arch also serves as a rain gutter for the entire facade of the building. It's a River Point building, 2017. Architectural firm. Chicago has a very rich history in the meatpacking industry. Back in the day, they needed to find a way to store the meat and keep it cool before they sent it out around the country. The idea that architects and engineers came up with was to construct a building that acts as sense for the building to thaw out before they could begin construction. In fact, Fulton House. Fulton House, originally completed in 1898, renovated in the 1970s by Harry Weiss. Speaking of Harry Weiss, we're going to see another one of his projects directly in front of the Fulton House. We'll see these funky white slanted structures. These were designed by Harry Weiss. These are the 4 river cottages, a series of 4 townhomes completed in the 1980s, designed in a style called postmodernism. So if modernism is that right angle, black box meets Van der Rohe style design, postmodernism is its funk rebel child of the 80s and 90s. Postmodernism is marked by wacky and whimsical elements on the facade of the building. Now everyone kind of thought Harry Weiss was a joke for designing residences on this branch of the river in the 1970s and 1980s, because this was known as the special command riding around the Chicago River. Just yell hey, and I'll do my best to answer your question. I'll play back in the mic here in just a few minutes and talk about that bridge we just saw taking straight into the air on the next branch of our tour. Continue our efforts to clean up the water.
Ya, kayak. Mi angelito.
Mira, échale.
Small base. So technology called caissons. Caissons are pillars bedrock all across the building, about 12 feet in diameter, and are made of metal and concrete. Here in Bote City, we stop when we say.
No, saludar, no lo voy a tumbar.
We do have strong investments.
Sí.
So like I said earlier, architects and engineers have to come to us with regulations.
¿Viste?
We talked about the both of these. On the top of 150, 12.
Sí, para acá.
No saben los accidentes.
There's a huge gap in architecture. There were almost no commercial office buildings. They were a way to do that. They weren't that concerned. Start considering aesthetic design. The design process. Spice things up a little bit. So, Brief 1971 in the international style. Fast forward to the 1980s. Architects really start to let their hair down, start considering aesthetic design elements. In the 1980s, we're going to talk about 4 coming up down the right hand side. This big curved green glass building. Well, I guess that's one time being like that because they actually put up an $800,000 map on the side of the building. This is a map of the Chicago River. Up on top, you can see Wolf Point, where all 3 branches of the Chicago River converge. Notice how Wolf Point makes a Y shape, right? That Y shape is our municipal symbol or municipal device here in Chicago. Because very, very closely, you might find it getting throughout our city. On the left and right, you don't really have that. Great example of how one people by the Joker in the beginning. For those Kaufman's actually, for the most part, set in Chicago, so the exterior scenes in most of the Batman movies but it was also filmed in Chicago a few years ago. Pretty cool. Well, this is unfortunately, maybe fortunately, not the opportunity. This is the old Chicago post office. But it was completed in 1921. It was the largest post office in the world in 19 quarters. We'll have a quarter-way catalog. Marshall Field, Montgomery Ward. Products from the inside the city, and they need a facility to handle that. So they built that area that sits on the roof of this building. It's a full-size basketball, full-size running and walking track, bistro and bar, and restaurant, all on the roof of the newly renovated tenants of the building are guests. However, it is the largest rooftop green space in the company. That's how we get into a big city. That's why we talk a lot, not about, it's why we talk a lot, and our politicians have been known from time to time to tell very long-winded stories. The joke's on them because we did end up winning the bid to host the 1893 World's Fair, or World's Columbian Exposition, and it established us as a global capital for arts and culture and as a Tyson industry. Chief architect of this fair, a man by the name of Daniel Burnham, decided he wanted to build a glowing utopia that reminded visitors of ancient Greece or ancient Rome, and he wanted to light it up using more electricity than had ever been used in the world at that time. That's exactly what he did. Some of our favorite things got there at this fair, including Cracker Jacks, shredded wheat, juicy fruit gum, Quaker Oats, the zipper, and the world's first brownie debuted this fair. For all these reasons, and the world's first. For all these reasons, the 1893 World's Fair, or World's Columbian Exposition, is the third red star on our Chicago flag. It's 3 of 4. We'll talk about the fourth one in just a little bit. Meantime, I want to say a little bit more about myself. Quite frankly, it's my favorite thing to talk about. My name is Evan Montgomery. I just finished my junior year at DePaul University studying documentary film and television production. I'm originally from Deerfield, Illinois. Graduated Deerfield High School, top of my class. That's not true. That's a lie. Actually, quite far from it. This is my second season here at Paisaje. It looks like the best job in the world. It probably is. I really can't beat being out here on the river every day. I really enjoy telling this. However, the roof of the city is taller than the roof of the One World Trade Center. Yeah. They got us on technicality, people. Doesn't bother me at all. I know from New York on board. They need New Yorkers. A bit closer, you might see England now. Skydiggers are trashing it. My tickets head to the top of the Sears Willis Tower. Step on ABD's glass. I personally desire, not experience I've ever desired or will ever desire. It sounds horrifying. In 2009, the Willis Insurance Group leased the naming rights for the building, so it technically became the Willis Tower. But Tower was the first building to utilize this technology. The British belief also uses this. It's the third and final way that we'll talk about today that architects use to offset the drift of their buildings in high winds. So to recap, we covered the blow-through floors, inertial swash dampeners, and bundled columns or bundled. That's enough movement to fucking justice and feet. Both men successfully made it to the top of the Sears Willis Tower, and both men were successfully arrested at the top of the Sears Willis Tower. Super illegal, go figure. The guy who climbed in the slider ran to what he was climbing. He actually climbed also the John Hancock Center, which is the 5th tallest building in Chicago. When he was climbing the John Hancock Center, the Chicago Fire Department took it upon themselves to try to spray him down with a fire hose, which was deemed pretty controversial. The very Chicago did. It was deemed pretty controversial at the time. Would have been deemed a little more controversial if it actually worked. He made it to the top and was arrested again. That's also illegal. So. Well, the railroad companies, they owned the land under this very expensive contract was 2 North Riverside Plaza on the left-hand side of part of Petco Canyon. Look at the Civic Opera building, you'll notice where they decided to use the Latin alphabet, which does not feature the letter U, so it could be there. The R960 does the same thing as well as the United States Post Office, Old Chicago Post Office back there, for purely aesthetic purposes. Civic Opera building is also home to the Lyric Opera Company, the second largest opera company in the United States. They have become somewhat of an institution here in the city of Chicago. The Boeing building was originally completed in the Morton Salt Company's headquarters. The Morton Salt Company has since moved into the Hot Pocket-shaped building back in Wolf Point. maybe the wackiest element still remains from the Morton Salt days. If you look at the top left-hand corner of this building, you'll see a panel with 6 holes. Top left-hand
qué
corner.
lindo se ve el
It was actually there to
cielo.
replicate the look of a salt shaker when this was the Morton Salt Company's building. It's a great example of how architects are also artists. Yes, they design buildings for utilization, but it's also a form of creative expression for the architects who design it. It's a Boeing building. Boeing also recently announced they're actually on their way out of Chicago. They're headed to Arlington, Virginia.
Step 3. You grow hard about what you want to be. Step 4. Everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good
Qué
day.
linda.
Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Yo, set your affirmations.
Beavers. East with, the river could be pure toxic waste and the geese would still be here. But the point is that all these animals coming back to the Chicago River is a great indicator that our river is healing, and the efforts by organizations like Friends of the Chicago River are not in vain, and that the water is just improving and improving, and it really only go up from here. So we're all, again, looking forward to seeing what the future holds for our people of Chicago River. All right, now something I don't usually talk about outside tours. In fact, today is actually the first day I've ever talked about outside tours. Chief architect of the 1893 World's Fair, Daniel Burnham. Because this building was designed and constructed during the height of Prohibition, we tend to suspect the Burnham surround. Congratulations! Take a look here at the building from the right side. The dome back on top of that. This is the Jeweler's building. That area was a hotbed for jewelry merchants. It was also, coincidentally, a hotbed for organized crime. Because of this, they actually constructed the Jeweler's building with a car lift or car elevator on the inside to facilitate the safe transfer of jewels and people. And there was a hotbed for jewelry merchants. It was also, coincidentally, a hotbed for, or until 2000, the interior is a luxury apartments and condominiums. They actually can't do anything to the exterior of the building, as it is a historic landmark, or the exterior of the Chicago Tribune Tower. That penthouse, by the way, just went for about $8.5 million. Back under the DeSable Bridge here. Load bearing, they carry part of the weight of a super lightweight carbon fiber roof made to look like half of a MacBook. It was completed in 2016, designed by London-based architectural firm Foster & Partners. They also helped out with the design of the Cupertino, California Apple headquarters as well. So that is the Chicago flagship Apple store. Top left here, we'll see that bright and shining rainbow NBC Peacock logo atop the Chicago NBC Tower. And you might be thinking that you recognize the style of this building from early on our tour. We got the limestone face, so the heart on those Art Deco design elements from the Roaring '20s. They exaggerated these Art Deco design elements, and out came this new style, Echo Deco, which is pretty fun to say, Echo Deco. Chicago NBC Tower was designed by Adrian Smith, the same. Well, in 1933, we hosted the second World's Fair. It's called the 1933 Century of Progress Fair. It's meant to celebrate 100 years of innovation since Chicago's founding as a township. It also included still hope and population at the height of the Great Depression, but focused on a lot of futuristic elements. Everyone say hi to Andre the Bubble Guy. Hey, Andre! And she's the chief architect of Studio Gang, and we'll see another one of their projects in just a few minutes here. The St. Regis Tower is a mixed-use hotel and residential. It's home to the luxurious St. Regis Hotel, as well as... Anyways, back to the 1933 Century of Progress Fair. It's meant to celebrate 100 years of innovation since Chicago's founding as a township, and instill hope and population at the height of the Great Depression. But focus on a lot of futuristic elements. They have these reasons. The 1933 Century of Progress Fair is the 4th red star on our Chicago flag. It rounds out all 4 red stars at Fort Fire Fair Fair. Fort Fire Fair Fair. These 2 blue stripes represent our 2 favorite bodies of water here from the Potawatomi tribes. The name Chicago comes from the Potawatomi word Chicago, which means river of the stinky onion. That's because the only thing that really grew around here was wild onions, wild leeks, and celery. They didn't see their first non-native settler here in Chicago, Jean-Baptiste Cornu Sable, in the 1780s. So what was drawing people to this area before them? the Native American people found out they could take their canoes down to the south branch of the Chicago River, there's a place for like a few miles, drop them in the Des Plaines River, which connects to the Illinois River, which is a tributary to the Mississippi. Or they carry canoes. My favorite fact about the Chicago River, and that is that the Chicago River is the only river on planet Earth to flow away from its mouth. This river flows backwards. That's not natural. That's human innovation and engineering at work. You see, for many, many years, they treated the Chicago River as an indiscriminate dumping ground. There's resources. They would dump off meat and trash, like animal carcasses. There's industrial runoff. Well, this became a problem because the Chicago River used to flow into Lake Michigan. When it was in the 1850s and 60s, we got the really cool name. Because Lake Michigan and the Chicago River are elevated above that new canal, when they broke the last dam holding the water back on the south branch of the Chicago River, that new canal sucked the water backwards, kind of like through a straw, reversing the flow of the entire Chicago River. Again, it's the one and only time something like that has been done in human history. It kick-started the engineering of the 20th century. It happened right at the turn of the century. The lower Newtown Chicago River. It's run by the United States Army Corps of Engineers, actually the same entity that was in charge of the... All right, well, look what we're going to start to see here, just a stunning view of the Chicago sky.
Step 1, wake up, really gonna ride this summer. Step 2, get some good, some food. Step 3, grow hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up,